everybody. So I'm here to talk about Below Deck Med, the most recent episode that came out on Monday. So hopefully I can remember everything. I only watched this last night, but usually I like to do it like right away, but I'm doing this the next day. So let's kind of get into it. Now, usually I don't do hot goss or anything, but at the end, I am going to talk about something because I believe Ellie was on Watch What Happens, not Crappens, on the 29th. So I guess like right after the episode. And I am going to talk about kind of what, in case for those who didn't watch it, because I usually don't watch them myself, but in case anyone didn't watch it, then we'll talk about it. So let's kind of get into it. Do the different things and we'll kind of leave the whole Bree and Ellie thing to the end. So Ian, kind of again, not watching his surroundings and just kind of doing the same thing he did last time where there's no one here to throw the lines to. Like, it's ridiculous. And how many times has Captain Sandy have to tell you to the lines in the water, can you get it out? And you finally, oh, okay. Like, I'm sorry, you're the bosun. You're supposed to be the one who is observing everything and not missing anything. We're all human, but this kind of just goes to show like you're not paying attention to what's happening around you. And that's a little bit concerning. And if you have Gail, who's literally like, that's ours. Like, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. And when Captain Sandy talks to Ian about, you know, what happened and that you need to do better, he doesn't get it. It's like he's so in his head, or like, I don't know, but he's in such denial about his ability and what he's missing. He thinks he's doing a good job. What? Where? Who? When? What? No, no, you're not. I hate to say you're mediocre at best at your job, which is really concerning personally. And I'm not Captain Sandy, but it's concerning. And he's like, it's unfair when I feel like I'm doing a good job. But, maybe she's just trying to like see how far I can push it. And she would never ask you to push it to a point where you're going to then snap at the end. You know what I mean? She's never going to do that. And she's not going to say something to you without, cause. The delusion is real. And I feel really bad for Captain Sandy because it's Malia, I can't remember her name, but ever since she's kind of dipped off of Below Deck and she's had to have like these bosuns who are just mediocre, she's done better promoting people to bosun than she is hiring a bosun right off the bat and seeing how they go. Raygun was an absolute shit show. And what's his face? What was his name? Pirate guy. I had to call him Pirate guy from South Africa. He does a better job once he was supposed to be a decky and he does so well once he's promoted. Like that's when she kind of lucks out. Then you have this guy and it's just like, I feel like we should just promote good Gail. I don't know how green Gail is, but she definitely seems to be a little better, or at least noticing things better than Ian is. Maybe Ian's because he's a guy. I don't know. But yeah, like this is the delusion is ridiculous. Anyway, I will mention that like they docked and the guests left. They got 19,000, I think it was euros. So that's good. Anyway, so moving on to kind of the next big thing that kind of happened, which is, and the situation with her boyfriend. So her boyfriend's at it again, okay? And he's like, hey, I love you. You gonna talk to me? Hello? You won't talk to me. What's going on? Just, just being like a shoe fly, don't bother me type situation. He is so, God, he's so clingy. I don't want that in my life. I don't know how anyone could want that in their life, although some people I think do. But Gail does not appear to be the kind of girl that wants that. So while she's at dinner with everybody, having fun, enjoying herself, they're about to go to an all white party in a minute. They're having so much fun. And here comes her stupid fucking boyfriend who's like, you don't talk to me. You don't have time for me. I think like we all know where this is headed anyways. So I think we should just end it here. And I'm just like, what the fuck? On the one hand, I'm like, girl, he just did you a service. He really did. But at the same time, I feel bad for her because she's getting broken up with over text, mind you, over text in front of her coworkers at dinner. And she just starts breaking down instantly. And I felt for her because it's just like, that sucks. No matter how shitty he is, that still sucks to kind of have that happen at that moment because he's so insecure with himself. This fucker. I want to know who the fuck this guy is. Anyway, he's just so fucking insecure with himself. Like, he sounds like a nerd. Anyway, but like what I loved in this moment, like she just kind of didn't want to talk to anybody, which I totally get. But Aisha kind of goes aside with her. And Aisha is just Aisha. She's fucking incredible. And she kind of just says, like, no matter how shitty he may be, like, you know, you don't deserve that. You know, like, yeah, it sucks. It sucks now. Like, it's gonna suck now, and that's okay. You can definitely sit and grieve about it. Like, she needs that. But at the end of the day, she's gonna realize this was so good. This was, yeah, he's a shitty person. He's a baby. And she's gonna be so much better for it. So yeah, she kind of goes back to the table and she kind of tells Nathan, he just broke up with me. And Nathan's being really good. Like he's definitely like, he's obviously into her, but he's also like, he acts like a friend to her when she needs it. And that's how a relationship should be. Your relationship should be times where, you know, I'm going to be, you know, the sassafras when you need me to be, or I'm going to be the friend that you need me to be, or the lover when you need me to be. Like, that's how a relationship should be. And he's just really good with her. So I'll finish up with Gail and then we'll kind of have to head back into the night before so that everything kind of flows with when I get to Brie and Ellie. So so when they get back to the boat, which is really fucking hilarious, they're kind of chilling outside. There's the two of them on the couch. And eventually they start making out. And she, I guess, was a little nervous about doing it. I mean, she's single, but she's newly single. So, you know, whatever. Not that it matters, girl. You've already been. Anyways. So she says, oh, I'm scared. What about the cameras? And Nathan says there are no cameras. He looked, but doesn't say there's a camera. Cause this camera zoomed in, but I wonder if it was a hidden camera. So he didn't actually see like a person. So he figured that they're good. My guy, word to you, because clearly I think you've never seen the show before. There's cameras everywhere. Not even just this show, any reality television show of this format, kind of like this, or Jersey Shore, or maybe Big Brother's kind of like that. I watch Claim to Fame, same idea. The only place that there is not going to be a camera is in the bathrooms. But sir, they're everywhere else. This guy, There's no cameras. And he looks right at one. This is, I'm like, my guy, there's always cameras. There's always a camera. Don't you ever think there isn't. There's always a camera. So yeah, they make out and whatever. But the next day, she does call to her clingy ass ex-boyfriend now. And this was so good. And I'm happy she kind of did this, stood her ground with him. I would love to know the other side of the conversation because I think it really would determine the kind of man this guy is. I mean, I think it's a mix of, yes, he's probably, I'm not going to say he's like a narcissist or he's definitely gaslighting her though, because I'll get to what she kind of says, but he was constantly saying to her, you don't talk to me, you don't text me, you don't have time for me, you don't have this, you don't have that. And we see a montage of clips of Gail texting him in the morning, texting him when she gets a chance, calling him on her breaks. We're seeing her talking to him. So what are you talking about? I guess he kind of wanted the level of what's her face on Below Deck Down Under in the first season when all she did was talk to her boyfriend, to the point where Captain Jason literally had to go to her and say, can you fucking stop? We have a limit on the Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Like that's not realistic. And so he is definitely gaslighting her in that sense, but I won't say he's a narcissist. I don't know enough about him. We don't hear enough from him. He definitely is a clingy ass man and he needs to get that checked out. No one should be fucking clingy like that. But she says to him, this isn't fair to me. You should have my back. You should understand what I'm doing here more than anyone else. And you don't seem to, or you're so caught up in your own shit that you can't look past all of that. And I'm happy she stood up for herself. And I guess she kind of says, I think it was in the moment she says he's seen me be dedicated because they met on a fucking boat. So does he not understand? Now I know boats on Below Deck are a little different than in reality, but nonetheless, does he not understand what's expected of somebody who is a decky or on a boat? I'm pretty sure she said she met him. I can't remember what his role was. I can't remember, the second engineer or something like that. I can't remember what his role was, but she met him on a boat either way. And it's like, I just don't understand you, sir. And yeah. And I don't get it. She's like, he's right now doing I think he's doing some sort of studying or something, some sort of course. And she's like, he should understand what I'm kind of going through. He's seen me be really dedicated as a deckhand. He knows how much I love this. She feels at home on boats. So it's like, you should understand that. But he doesn't understand it to the effect of, if it affects his relationship with her, then it doesn't matter how much she loves her job or how much she loves this lifestyle. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that his needs are being met and he's a man child. So he did you a service, like I said earlier. And she kind of just goes down to her room and Aisha's there and Aisha just cuddles her. You got this. You're gonna be fine. Sucks right now, but you're gonna be fine. So yeah, it's basically it for Gail and her situation with her ex-mans. So before we kind of get into the real meat of this episode, I just want to kind of talk about these guests that are coming on. And when it comes to perspective with Jono. So these guests that are coming on have some preferences when it comes to their food. One person doesn't like vegetables, really any type of vegetable. One person doesn't like fucking eggs. Another person doesn't like eggs or any form of meat. Doesn't like meat, doesn't like poultry. I don't fucking know. I think there's someone else who doesn't like shellfish or fish in general. So he is starting to fret because he's like, this is how it kind of went with the second charter. So he's worried. He's like, I've had, good charters since then, 3 and 4. He's had 2 good charters in a row, but now he's starting to fret. Well, at least in this case, you don't have to, you probably won't have to serve any cold eggs, so that's good. But it's just like, I think this is going to be a real test for him to see what he's capable of and if he can do it. If he can't do it, he's gone. And I'm telling y'all, we're going to have Dave back. So we'll see. But let's want to quickly add that in here. Let's go to the nonsense that is Bree and Ellie. Okay, this is a lot. So bear with me as I go through this. So it kind of starts with laundry, as always, because Bree constantly fucks up. But it's not just Bree. We also find out that Ellie also fucked up as well. But, or maybe fucked up was the wrong word to use, but just doesn't fucking remember what she did. But again, whatever. But they're kind of scrambling, trying to find clothes. Sadie doesn't have all of her stuff. We gotta get this shit figured out, Brie. So, we're just, all over the place with laundry. And she writes something down. I can't remember what it was, but it had to do with Gail and her pants. And she writes this down in the quote unquote burn book. And Ellie sees it, goes up to Bree, because I think Bree was somewhere upstairs, and says, "What's the deal with Gail's pants? Because I know that I ironed it and hung it up. Like, where's the pants? I didn't lose it. I think you're trying to imply that I did." And it's like, okay, number one, you gotta stop thinking this is a burn book. It's not a fucking burn book. Again, it's not like she wrote that Ellie is a fugly slut. She didn't do that, okay? She's writing things down in a weird fucking way because I think it's simply that Bree is not the sharpest tool in the shed, okay? But she's writing things down for her own purposes. She's not trying to create a burn book here. She's just doing things a little weird. I don't know why she's doing it that way, but it's a little weird. But yeah, she confronts her about that. They figure out the whole pan situation. We find out it's Ellie's fault. So, anyway, and with the whole situation, Captain Sandy does go to Aisha and says, like, you need to train her. She's fucking up the laundry. I don't fucking understand why this is so difficult. She's fucking up the laundry. You need to talk to her. You need to actually train her. Not that Aisha has the fucking time, but I guess she's going to have to find the time. This is because I was questioning this. I can't remember if I questioned this on the podcast, but I questioned this, that didn't we have more stews last season? Yes, we did. Last season we had Toomey, we had Kyle, we had Natalia, and then we had that other girl, the Asian girl, the really green one. I can't remember her name. She was the one that got mixed up with what's his face. So yeah, we had those four people. Now the last one was very green, but at least you had the other three who weren't. So, it was fine. And this was on the same boat that we're currently on. Why don't we have another stew? I feel this is the show trying to fuck shit up. But like, I don't quite understand. Like, it's like you have someone who's really fucking green, and then another person who's she's not that experienced, but she's not that green either. And then you have Aisha, and it's just like that's not enough. That's not enough. Because when you have people going on break, you have these two green people, or fairly, well, at least Ellie fairly green, the other one really green people who doesn't know shit about shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, that happens. So whatever. The charter's then done. Then we go out, right? Everything's fine until they get to the white party. We haven't really talked about the white party. Now, at the white party, Joe is just making out with Ellie. And Bree sees the whole thing. Bree's a little bit uncomfortable. She's like, listen, I'm not mad. She's probably a little jealous, as real. She's like, I'm not mad, but she doesn't want to see it. And that's fair. And then when they're on the way back to the boat, she goes into a car. Joe goes into the same car as Bree, but then Ellie's like, where's Joe? And she ends up going into the same car, and they're in the back there just making out. And Bree can hear the whole thing. And she's like, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to see it. I don't want this in my life right now. She's pissed. And you know what? I don't blame her because like she says, the difference between when I made out with Joe versus when Ellie made out with Joe is I didn't do it in front of her face. That's true too. And I don't think it was really good for either of them. Joe can sense that Bree's pissed off with him, that she doesn't want to talk to him, and he's like trying to talk to her, but she won't have it. And he's like, she hates me. Bree hates me. So, like, I mean, my guy, you didn't have to do it in front of her. But anyways, the next day before they kind of start working, Bree very calmly and very, very nice. She was very nice about it. Says, listen, I just want to let you know, I'm not mad about you making out with him. Like, I don't care about that so much, but please don't do it in front of me again. Like, I'd rather it just not happen in front of me. And Ellie seems to take that fairly well as well. And she says, yeah, that's okay. She's like, I appreciate you telling me that. Done. Great. Cool. Then let's get going. Then, because of there was more issues with the laundry. I think this time it was the white shirt gone missing, Sandy's. And I think this is when she goes to Aisha and says, I need a trainer. And Aisha then goes to Bree. She's in the cabins and says to her, listen, we have to do a little better with the laundry. I don't want to have to let you go. So I'm going to try to, help you out here, try to train you better. And so hopefully we don't have to get to that point. And Bree understandably breaks down. She's like, it's not always my fault. It's not always my fault. But yeah, it's always my fault. Here's one thing. I think 9 times out of 10 though, Bree, it is your fault. Like, yes, there was the one situation with Ellie and Gail's pants, but it's mainly you, girl. Like, it's mainly you. Yes, Ellie's going in the laundry from time to time, but you're the main person in the laundry and the mistakes are happening. Charter 1, the mistakes were happening. Charter 2, the mistakes were happening. At one point, I think she was doing a little better, then it just went back downhill again. That's you, girl. That's not Ellie. You can't blame all of it on Ellie. Right, really most of it on Ellie. So, yeah, she's obviously shaken up, upset, whatever. And so I try to remember the order of things here because my God, this is so messy. So I think she was in the mess, crying. Sandy comes downstairs and Sandy sees her crying. And she kind of says like, I'm just really messed up. I know I have to do better with laundry, blah, blah, blah. But like with Ellie, it's just so difficult. She treats me so badly, blah, blah, blah. And again, she said she doesn't want to deal with it with Captain Sandy. Fair enough. But she just kind of cries it out. And Sandy gives her good advice and kind of says, don't compromise yourself in order to keep the peace. Like, set the boundaries if you need to set the boundaries and all of that, but like, don't compromise yourself because she kind of says like, I feel like I have to kind of just, take it, but you shouldn't have to take it. So that seems to help. She gets, Sandy puts a smile on her face, so everything's fine for now. So again, try to remember the order of things here. So Aisha, yeah, okay, okay, I remember right now. Aisha is going, the guests are here. Aisha is going to be taking them on like a shopping trip or whatever in town. And she leaves Ellie and Bree obviously on the boat. She tells Bree, go on your break before she leaves. And Ellie is left by herself to do what needs to be done. The main things that need to be done was she needed to set the table. I think there was something else she had to do as well. And then she also had to do the cabins. Now, cabins should be number 1 priority because the guests are number 1 priority. So in the order that this should have been done, because the guests are going to go to their cabins first before they go to lunch. So what should have been done here, which I'm not even sure if this was lunch or dinner or what this was, but she I think it was lunch. And she says, sorry, let me go back. She should have done the cabins first, then the table. So Bree comes back from break. Ellie's gonna go on her break. And she tells Bree, so I set the table. I did this other thing that she had to do. Can't remember what it was. I didn't get a chance to do the cabins though. So you're gonna have to do the cabins. And like the guests are gonna be back in a little they're right around the fucking corner at this point. And Bree is like, are you fucking kidding me? Like she said that in the moment, she's like, guests are first. Am I wrong? Like, what the fuck? And she's kind of in the cabin doing what she has to do, mumbling to herself, like, this is bullshit. And she's allowed to do so. She is allowed to rant and rave if she wants to. Okay. Ellie, I guess, hears her and goes to her and says, like, I just didn't have time to do the cabins. Like, I don't know why you're acting like this. Blah, blah, blah. And Bree's like, I just don't understand why the cabins weren't done first. Guests are first. And you did everything but. And you're leaving it for me to do. It feels purposeful. Yeah, yes, it is. And she's like, it feels purposeful. And like, I'm like, she's like, I, whatever. I'm doing it. Just leave me be. And Ellie is like, no, like, don't talk to me that way. She's like, please leave me alone. Like, she's literally saying to her, leave me alone. Get away from me. Let me be what I want to be at this moment. I'm mad. Let me be mad. I'm allowed to be pissed. I'm not going to apologize for being pissed. And Ellie is just berating her and just kind of being like, you can't talk to me that way. You can't act like that. Why are you acting like that? She can act however the fuck she wants to act. And she told you to leave. She would have acted that way in her own privacy. Get the fuck away from her. And she's not understanding that. It's all like, you can't talk to me that way. You can't act like that to me. Blah, blah, blah. And it is like bullshit. So she is literally telling her, she must have told her about 6 or 7 times, leave me alone. And she's not understanding. And she finally goes into the bathroom to finish up in there. Ellie fucking follows her. And she says to her, I'm second stew. So do you know what that means? That means that I tell you what to do and you do it. Like basically around those lines. Basically exerting her second stew card, which is fucking ridiculous. That's not what a second stew should be doing. You should second stew, yes, can delegate, but you shouldn't be talking to her in the way you're talking to her. So she, at this point, this is when you go to Captain Sandy and say, this is what happened. But yeah, she basically gets all pissy with that, whatever. Ellie eventually does go and leaves her at that point after she had to say that bullshit to her. And Bree's a mess. Bree's understandably a mess. They get told that the guests are coming soon. So not only does she have to deal with cabins, but then she also has to deal with like having like the drinks, the welcome drinks, the towels and everything kind of done before she gets to get there, right? So while she's kind of doing that, she's just like crying, freaking out. She's pissed. Like she's pissed. Now, should she control herself a little bit because the guests are coming? Absolutely. But she's at a breaking point as well. So Captain Sandy's like, okay. And she's like, try to collect yourself, whatever. And I think, I can't remember if Bree did say something to Aisha before she really said something, like really told her what happened. But Aisha does eventually, when she gets there and obviously sees Bree was upset, she does kind of talk to Captain Sandy and she's saying like something happened, like what happened? And Captain Sandy's like, listen, I don't know. Okay, no, that's not what happened. Sorry, back up. Or try again. Remember what happened. Bree does talk to Aisha and tells her side of things and kind of what happened. And she says, kind of has a question. Guests come first. So Captain should be done first, correct? She's like, yeah. So she tells her what happened. And Aisha's like, okay, yeah, no. She had plenty of time that she could have gotten the cabins done. I don't know why she didn't get the cabins done. And she should have done the cabins first. You went on break. I told you to go on break. So, no, that shouldn't have happened that way. So she goes and talks to Ellie, and of course, this bitch, she literally just is like, yeah, no, I get that maybe I should have done the cabins first, yeah. But her attitude is so bad. She doesn't take any accountability for anything. She tries to blame things on everybody else. Like, we can't keep working like this, girl. You can be let go too. You think because you're second stew, you can't? I've seen Captain Sandy literally fire a second stew. Get the fuck out of here. So Aisha goes to Captain Sandy, and because Captain Sandy was kind of around when I think Ellie was talking to her, and she goes to her and she's like, did you hear that? She's like, no. And she tells her kind of what's been going on and what happened in this case. And Captain Sandy, this is when she says, yeah, I did see Bree really upset. And she's like, listen, I'm going to call both of them up here. I'm going to talk to both of them because like this is ridiculous. And I loved this so much. They come up to the bridge, sits them down, and she says, listen, y'all need to figure this shit out. Y'all need to be able to work together. This is fucking ridiculous. If you can't find a way to work together, I'll fire both of you. Because I don't know the story. I don't know if Bree's telling me the truth. I don't know if Ellie's telling me the truth. I don't know who's telling me the truth. So since I don't know who's telling me the truth, both of you will be fired. I go for both be fired for about $200, Alex. You know what I mean? This is fucking ridiculous. Listen, it would be detrimental for the boat, obviously. But you can get new people, whatever. Not an issue. But Ellie is ridiculous because of the way she talks to Bree. What if someone else comes on the boat and is really into Joe? She's gonna do the same thing, right? So, yeah, she needs to go for that. She also needs to go because she still doesn't really do her job consistently. She can't do a drink without being flustered, or multiple drinks without being flustered. She can't do a table in enough time. Like, it took her an hour to figure it out, and Aisha did it in 5 minutes. So there's that. She doesn't do cabins when she's supposed to do the cabins. There's that. And yeah, so she needs to go because of those things. And then Bree needs to just go because she really can't do laundry. Like, she can't even do a simple thing of laundry and retain the information. So I think both of them should go, honestly. Whatever. Start fresh. But that's basically it for the coverage of Below Deck Med. But like I said, Ellie was recently on Watch What Happens, and that was on July 29th. And she basically said, like, watching her season, she kind of is now stating that she was a little bit wrong because during filming, she did not have the correct information. And this was in respect to the whole situation between Bree and Joe, because Bree is definitely really kind of flirty with Bree. So she says, like, I didn't know the correct information. She said, hindsight is always 20/20 on like my vision. But trust me, guys, she's still gonna double down. We're not done yet. So on their seemingly constant bickering sessions, Ellie states that she doesn't, quote, owe Bree anything. So she said, she's been a freaking nightmare to me. Bitch, you've been a freaking nightmare to her too. Flashbacks then show Ellie not backing down while Bree asks her for space, as I've mentioned already. Ellie then appears again in real time, vocalizing her real issues with Bree, because let's be honest, her real issues with Bree have nothing to do with the work. She would say, and secondly, she's throwing herself at Joe. That's always what this was about. He's not interested in her. He clearly is, though, honey. He is interested in her to some degree. He's also interested in you. He doesn't take either of you seriously. This is fun for him. You're both stupid. Anyways, she said, but I did not have the correct information. Ellie then relents even further, saying, quote, she wasn't aware how much Joe was leading her on. There's more flashbacks again, kind of showing, I think, Bree and Joe. And Ellie would then say, all of the information I was getting from Gail and Nathan, so now she's going to throw them under the bus, was that Joe was attracted to me. He is attracted to you, but that doesn't mean he's also not attracted to Bree. Anyway, Bree's out there throwing herself at him. I see that, yes, when they made out, but post that, she has not been throwing herself at him. Like, you're a stupid girl. Anyways, he can't get rid of her. She's not real. This person is not real. Oh my God. That's what I thought was happening. She says, if I had known that Joe was full on leading her on, she would have responded differently to the situation. I don't think you would have. I really don't think you would have. But if that's what you want us to believe, go for it. But yeah, that's basically it for this episode of Below Deck Med. So yes, I did mention that you were going to be getting UK and HEA today. You're probably getting this today, as well as I think HEA. And then you'll get UK tomorrow and tow. So that's what will be coming. But yeah, that's basically it for this episode. And then we'll be back with another episode very soon. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.